Hey everybody, what is going on? Welcome into the Delmarva Sports Insider, the only live and local show dedicated to giving you all local sports all the time here on the shore. I'm Sports Director Brandon Bosser.
What's up? It's yours truly, Sports Anchor Devin J. Martin. As always, we got a lot to talk about. Obviously, a lot of football and some other sports as we, get closer and closer to the start of fall season.
We are 1 week away from high school football starting once again. We're also 1 week away from SU football getting underway. We will be talking about them tomorrow. You don't want to miss that.
Yeah, I'm sick of talking about football but not actually having football. So it just got 1 more week, 7 more days before we can finally get into the actual
games. And now
games.
we don't even have the NFL for the next couple of weeks.
I know. It's
I don't
really
know
tough.
what they're doing either, because
I don't know
you got
either.
3 preseason games, and now we're going to have like a 2 or 3 week stretch without
and then
the
17 straight games when they could have just kept it the way that it was. Well, they wanted money.
We're ranting at this point. Let's get back on track now. We're going to start things off with the Lake Forest Spartans. We were in Felton earlier today, and they have higher expectations this year because of what they did last year.
Yeah, they had some really impressive wins last year. I think they beat Newark and Red Lion last year. Both teams have finished 7-3 before Lake Forest would go out in the second round of the DIAA tournament in the 2A. They were 9-3 last year, Brandon. They were, they had one incredible year. I think the year before they may have been 500 or a little bit below that. And just like every program in the Henlopen, they're going to have to deal with change. A lot of the senior leaders from last year's squad for the Spartans, they're gone. Kai Rivera among them. Obviously, he was one of the lead backs for the Spartans last year and one of their better defensive players as well. But the question is now, who's going to step up and come fill the void? I know when I talked to some of the coaches earlier today, it wasn't just one guy that they had in mind to do that.
Jonathan Tyndall, the quarterback, he's coming back for another year under center. Plus, they have a core of junior running backs that will have to replace Khalif Spencer and Rivera. The Spartans coaching staff says it won't be up to one or a few players to replace last year's graduating talent, but the whole team.
We're just looking to, improve each day. We got some young guys that we're still trying to figure out what's going to happen. So each day we're just trying to get better each week and then prepare for our first game next week. We usually try to make sure that we get those young guys some sort of reps during the season, because we know it could be next man up at any moment. So we just try to make sure that we're prepared and we're preparing them, in case that happens, during the season.
Yeah, they're a squad that we don't really talk about that much. Obviously, again, 9-3. They had some really impressive wins, and they also had a little bit of an easy schedule. I looked into their schedule.
Big playoff win against DMA as well.
But they absolutely did. So, they're a team as well that they're kind of on that cusp. Are they going to make a step to become a contender? Are they going to fall back? Are they going to maintain the same thing? It's really hard to tell. It's very early on.
Well, I have loved Jonathan Tyndall since he was a freshman with Cape when he was thrust into that role because of an injury. And now he's a senior. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the entire state of Delaware. We will see, along with that junior core of running backs as well. Yeah. Ground and pound is going to be a big reason why Lake Forest has success this year.
And their first game is going to be against Odessa High, and that's at home. That's going to be next week when all the other games are kicking off in the DIAA as well.
Oh,
Friday
man.
and Saturday.
Odessa. All right, moving over to the Henlopen South, where another team we're looking at is the Woodbridge Blue Raiders. Woodbridge looking to bounce back this upcoming season after a terrible 2-8 finish last year. Last year didn't go the way the Raiders had expected after they have been perennial contenders the last few seasons before last year. We went out to the Bridge earlier this week, head coach Marvin Dooley telling us that we're going to expect a totally different team for this upcoming year. Offense, defense, everything's changing. But as the season fast approaches, Coach Dooley says had this to say about the team and how they're preparing and how they did prepare this offseason.
Camp has went fantastic. We've had a great, we're having a lot of young guys that have developed over in the weight room, and it's shown on the field as we went through here the first few weeks. So it's been exciting because they've been excited, and we're looking forward to see for come week 1. Well, our last game of the year when we lost out here, our motto was the return of the Raiders, and that's carried over all winter and it's carried over this camp. So I think their mindset has been what we said, just the return of the Raiders in 2023.
Yeah, state championship from a couple years ago, appearance, excuse me, almost an entirely undefeated season, and they go from that to 2-8. So there's got to be a middle ground.
They lost a ton of talent from that team that did go to the championship that year as well, including a couple of D1 players. Woodbridge has had fantastic talent. They're looking to replenish that roster as of right now. Lost Weston Westcott to Cape Henlope, and that was a huge loss. They begin their season with the Seaford Blue Jays coming up next week.
Now we got another team now in the Henlope North. Also a team that's also made it to a championship in the past couple years.
They did just last year.
Absolutely.
Dover was in
Senators.
the 3A championship just
and
last year.
They were really good all year long before they lost in the state championship game. Now, they got a lot of the same talent that gave them that success last year returning to the field this time around. So they're one of the schools in the Henlopen where they're not losing a lot of guys, either the transfers or to graduation. They all kept them in-house, and the Senators are now knocking at the door to become state champs in the 3A
They
this
are
year.
definitely a contender this year, that's
they
for sure.
absolutely are, and they looked like it at their scrimmage as well from earlier in the week. Now, last year, obviously, they ended their season in the 3A state title game, losing to Smyrna, another team that we've already talked about on DSI in the past couple weeks. But this season, the Senators are itching to get all the way back and come away as champions this time. Obviously, they got players like Nassim Cosme still coming back, Jaquan Kilby, Mike Stevenson, John Parker, and more all on the rosters. And that means the Senators are primed to take another crack at Smyrna, Brandon, and maybe beat them and the rest of the 3A to become the 3A state champs.
We got to take it day by day, step by step. You know, it means a lot to us to try to get back and try to win it.
We seem to be more disciplined. We're getting our guys in the right spots. Guys were buying into what we were telling them, and that seemed to pay off. We had a lot of good coaches here, and everyone's doing a good job trying to build our program.
Yeah, a few of those players that you just mentioned with Dover, they have some incredible athletes up there at Dover. And all of those guys returning this year, I definitely expect Dover to be a true contender in the 3A. We'll see if they're going to be able to make up the difference with Middletown and Smyrna. All right, now another Henlopen North team that we're previewing this week is the Sussex Tech Ravens, who had a 4-6 finish last year. The Ravens have a large junior class this season that they're going to be relying on to compete in that 2A District 3. We caught up with Ravens head coach Brad Ellingsworth earlier this week. He says the focus for this upcoming year, same as it's always been. It's not about who we play, but how we play them. Tech looks to get back on the winning side of things. And Coach Ellingsworth believes this year's squad of Ravens way ahead of the curve compared to last year. Let's listen in now.
We are way ahead of where we were a year ago in terms of that, in terms of maturity and our leadership. And so I'm very, very pleased with our effort. I mean, we're running around. We're excited every day. So I'm excited to see how this team, and their potential and how they pan out. So.
Yeah, if we take the coach's word for it, they may be a team to also step up in the future as well for this upcoming fall season.
Yeah, they have a huge junior class this year that we talked about they're going to be relying on. But that 2A District 3 is going to be so much fun to watch this year.
Especially with Laurel in it
now.
now.
Laurel is up, they've got Delmarva, Seaford, Milford, Woodbridge.
Lake
it's going to be so much fun to watch this year, so competitive. I honestly don't know who the favorite is in that 2A District 3. All right, that'll do it for the A block. We're calling our first time out. When we return, we're shifting over to the Bayside as the Easton Warriors look to keep their spot at the top of the North. That and more coming up next on DSI.
I'm Coach Lacey Lord with Salisbury University Softball, and you're watching Delmarva Sports Insider.